Alright, hey guys, it's Alonzo with Last IC Gaming, going over my Vicious Revival Bergamo deck profile. I've been really excited about this deck, putting a lot of work in it with it, and basically just been putting a lot of practice refining the list, and I'm very happy with this deck, and I think this deck has so much potential. I honestly think this is a blue sleeper. I should be getting more attention, honestly. But yeah, I just want to go over it, and show you guys the list. Not gonna be over everything too much in depth. If you guys want a more in-depth profile, I can do that at a later time. But this is going to be kind of like surface level and just kind of explaining the list and some of the plays and stuff like that. Alright, so first off we got Bergamo. Of course, at the end of the turn he plays Universe 9. With 2 or lower, he draws a card, and he gives all Universe cards, makes them treat like they have no specified cost. So that's really nice. Back is really similar. But the biggest thing on the back is you can awaken at the end of the turn. You play a guy and you can take up to 1 life and you untap 2, so this is really nice for your plays. First off, we have 1 max power Kamehameha. You only need 1. It's really good to recycle if you see it in like the middle of your game. This basically just a negate. You just keep recurring. It's really nice. Usually have 2 energy open during your opponent's turn, so this is like fits perfectly. Really nice. Same thing, we have 2 more, 2 counter plays, 2 God's Blessing Kamehameha. I actually made this card. I know some people don't like maining counters like this, but I love it, and I think for the format, this is a great answer to yellow, which is one of the most prominent colors. Of course, it's still good against other things as well, but specifically for yellow, like you don't want to bounce riposte back, like that just feels terrible. So this is a great card for that, and it could be free since we're playing all mono blue. This is the blue-yellow version. This is just mono blue. I feel a lot more comfortable with the blue. Blue-yellow is also really good as well. The one where you charge yellow. This is blue and you play yellow cards because I have no specified cost, but focuses more on blue colors. But this card is really good, and I think just having some counters for one of the most prominent colors in the format is just really nice, and also has other neat situations, and being able to play it for free is just really nice. 2 D-Magic. D-Magic. Great card. We have 4 Bean. I'm just gonna change how to do this. Actually, we have 4 Bean. Bean's just a great card. Obviously, on this deck, we want to play a lot of 1-drops, and basically this helps us play all our 1-drops and just continue basically cycling our plays and putting in more pressure. So, great card. All right, then play 4 Chills Army. This is a great card because you can paralyze perfectly on curve. So if you're going first, you take a life. At the end of that turn, you'll have 7. Your opponent attacks, you go to 6. At the end of your next turn, you go to 5. And then on 5, you can activate this, get rid of 2 attacks. So you always can basically awaken on your turn. You always want to see this on curve. So this is a great card. That's why we play 4 of it. And later in the turn, like you usually always have 2 energy open at least. So this is like perfect. So you can play this. You can hard play this a lot of times, and it fits in really nice. So that's all the extra cards, I believe. And then we have play 4 Borgos. It's a 1-drop hand trip that has barrier. It's good in the mirror, but mostly we play because it's a 1-drop hand trip with barrier. And then some of the U9 cards, we play Bergamo, which is really nice. You can just basically get so much value with this guy. And he helps him put in pressure basically, because if you play it like late in the game, and let's say you're turn 5 and your opponent has 5 energy, you're going to be playing this for 1-drop. That's a hand trip. That's a 24k. After that turn, it's going to be 28k. After that turn, you know, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and kind of just like how Bergamo is. But it's really cool actually. And then honestly, this just puts in a lot of pressure. It's really nice for 1 energy. Super nice. And then we play 2 Basil. Basil's just good because first off, he's a name for our leader's effects. We're not trying to focus too much on getting the like lock off per se, but it's definitely still possible, and it's just nice you can do it sometimes. But yeah, we have Bergamo, just a good hand trip. That is also just a good beater. Basil's Basil, and he has no specified cost in his deck. For super combos, we play 2 Zeno and 2 Vegeta. I really like this split. I don't think I've gone back and forth on this split like for weeks honestly, but I think 2 and 2 is what I've settled on. I was playing 3 and 1. I think that was fine too. But I think I like 2 and 2 just slightly better. Honestly, the ratio in the 4 super combos kind of depends on the format, to be honest. Right, and then we play 4 Bergamo. This card is basically what makes this deck viable, honestly. Basically, you play at the end of the turn. He's a barrier and a hand trip, so really nice. So this with Borgos, you're usually gonna have at least 2 cards that always stick, and you can always just have more of these two. So that's really nice. And then you can have that effect where you reduce the cost of your U9s by 1, which is really nice. So that honestly puts in a lot of work. And then you play Sorel and Hop. This is one of the best cards you can play on your like turn 5, because you'll play it and let's say you don't have a blocker negate, they'll attack you, you'll take it, and the next attack you just block, basically, and make sure that you don't have to let go of any other cards, and then if they don't tap, you draw. And it's also sometimes you play this card just because of beater. Like let's say worst case scenario, like you have this guy, you activate main, you can play it for 1 and attack for 15k. So that usually doesn't happen, but that's actually really nice sometimes if when you need to get rid of like a unison, like if you're playing like red and you need to get rid of the pickle unison, like that's a plausible situation, so that's just really nice. And then of course the blocker is honestly really good, and some matchups having a blocker that you can have like so readily available is really nice. Alright, and then we played 3 hit. You can play Majin Buu or maybe like a baby parasite, but I felt like what I've noticed in this is that you don't want to be wasting too much energy on a unison, and you kind of just want to have a unison that gives like passive draws basically, and that's like the biggest most important thing of it is just that it draws every turn and it's low energy, so you can do your other plays, because your other plays in this deck are honestly more important. So this isn't the focus. You always want to see unison, but you don't have to see it perfectly on, you would prefer to see it usually on turn 3, but you don't need to see it on turn 3, you can still do other stuff. So that's why we only play 3, because it's not necessary immediately to always see it. So once you see it once, usually it's going to be living, because you have other stuff like all your blockers, like it's not even a problem at all. So you only see 1, and you don't need to see it perfectly on your turn 3 curve. So you can see it on turn 4 or 5, so that's fine. That's why we only played 3. But you can play 4 if you like. I could totally understand. I could go back and forth on 3 and 4, but I think 3 has been fine. We played 2 Trio Dangerous Basil. It's obviously similar to the new Basil, but he gains 1k for each energy and dual attack, so it's really nice. But you usually never play him off himself. To go with him, we played 2 Bergamos, Trio Dangerous Bergamo. That's the old one if anyone remembers. And to go with these, basically, which will kind of makes this whole package go together, is Trio Dangers Mark of the Wolves. Basically, this is a card you always want to draw on turn 4. You're going to be playing him, and he's going to be playing one of each of these guys. Or if you already have one of these Basils on the board, because you want the trio on board if you can, you'll just play a Sorel and Hop, and they're negated for the turn that they're played, but they'll get their skills at next turn, so you'll have a barrier blocker next turn. So that's really nice that they can't really interact with, and when they block, then obviously you're still getting draws, so this can kind of replace itself when you're playing it, so that's really nice. Alright, next up we're going to play 2 Basil. You don't really play this card by himself, but he gets played Trio de Dangers Mark of the Wolves. This card's really good because it can play the Basil as well as Bergamo. So that's one of the best things, is you always want to search for this card to play basically both pieces and make it so your opponent basically has to go through the wall of Universe 9, as well as basically you're going to be getting a whole bunch of blockers and like basically just a lot of power plays, because with the other card, the Bergamo 2-drop, you can make this as a 3-drop. So basically, for 3 energy, you're going to get this, and a Basil. And that's basically going to be one of your best value plays. And it's just super good. And it's honestly, I want to play 4, but I think 3 has been fine because you don't need to see it all the time. And this is basically the thing you always have to do. But this is just a great play that basically this just gives you everything. And usually with all the drawing, because you have so much drawing and hand draws in this deck, that you literally see all your deck. So it's really nice. So I've been really liking 3 of this card, but this little combo is super good. Kind of want to bump this up to 3 though. I'm not sure, but that's definitely a possibility. But yeah, we played those. And we played 4 God Sealing. God Sealing is just God Sealing, great card. But a lot of times, the reason we do play 4 is because we want to counterplay a lot. But sometimes not even just to counter it. Like let's say if they do a token negate, you'll have a counterplay window, so you'll counter it, but you'll let them play it, but you'll play God Sealing, and that's really good because it basically is gonna be basically getting through their token, and this is added pressure. So like let's say they token negate, right? You play this, they attack, they lose a token, that instead of bouncing it, they lose a token, but you're keeping this card on board. So that's going to give you way more value. And it's a 5-drop, so if they secret identity you, it's really negative for them to hit. So honestly, this card's really good for that, and it gives you another body. So I think in this deck, mandatory 4-up, for sure. Super good. Cabba Zenith is honestly just great. And then we play 4 Cabba Zenith. This card is really good because you have so many 1-drops that you can play this offensively and just put pressure in, especially with a beam, and draw 2 cards, which is really nice. Or you can use it defensively, and the reason we do play 4 of is because Slug is a card, and this gets around Slug, so you're able to bottom deck it, so that's really nice. That's what we play for this card. But a lot of times you just push really aggressively on your turn with it, or if you have to play against yellow and they have Slug, then you obviously have a in-deck way to get rid of it, so that's really nice. Alright, and then we do play 2 Secret Identity. Just having the removal is nice. You can play Fu if you like, but I think 2 Secret Identity has been pretty good for me. And then we play 4 Kefla. This is like the heart of the deck, basically. You always want to be dropping this on turn 3, and then Awakening, and then dropping a Unison or something else with that extra energy. But this is really good because this basically makes it. This gives you. Usually it's going to be a 3 energy. 25k that draws you 2 and untaps 2 at your next turn. So if you look at the cards that it's untapping, this basically turns into a 1 energy draw to 25k. So super good. This card does so much, and this card, honestly, I'm surprised this card is so cheap. This card just does so much. I love this card. But yeah, and then the last card should be Hatch. This is just a proxy for Hatch. But yeah, Hatch or whatever you have. But Hatch, honestly, I think is definitely the best one. But yeah, that's the profile, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have any comments, critiques, or maybe any of your own builds that you're really excited about, definitely share them below. Honestly, I would love to take a look at them. I love this deck, honestly. I think it's super fun. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Later.